Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Simply Terrifying. Today, we have a very special title. I love it so much. It is called, this is episode 4 now, and this is called Ogres Are Like Onions. So, if you are an uncultured swine and you have no idea where that saying comes from, let me throw you back to the early 2000s where you should definitely have watched Shrek. Okay? There's 4 fucking movies by now. If you've never heard of them, Big Green Ogre, Friends with a Donkey, well, kind of, you know. If you haven't seen it, you need to just go see it. Okay. The phrase ogres are like onions still remains one of the biggest, most enduring metaphors ever to exist. And, I mean, hopefully you know what an onion is. Onions have layers, right? Ogres have layers. This is where the spot in the movie where, you know, the donkey, well, not everyone likes onions. Okay, well, he doesn't care what everyone else likes. Shrek doesn't care what everyone else likes. Donkey starts listing off all these things that have layers, cakes, parfaits, all this stuff. It's not about what everybody likes, period. Okay, that's the whole thing. And an onion, like, can be really on the outside. However, you never know. It just keeps going. Like, an onion is so complex, as are so many people, which is why it hits so nice when you actually stop and say the words and appreciate the meaning behind it. So, symbolizes that individuals possess deep emotional complexity and vulnerability beneath a protective or off-putting exterior. For example, I'm wearing a sweatshirt that says cult leader. Am I? Not yet, but some people might look at that and be like, okay, she's crazy, whatever, which is totally fine. I have no problem. Other people, however, might come up and say, oh, that's such a cool shirt, da 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 da, which, okay, is fine. This is my shirt. I love it. It's a piece, right? It's something that I talk about, I joke about, whatever. It's totally fine. I don't need to walk around wearing a cross all the time to let people know that I'm this person. I don't need to walk around with fuck you on my shirt to let everyone know that I'm the opposite kind of person. I just go about my day however the fuck I want, and I don't care about people and what they think like that, okay? My hat also says nope, which is a great kickoff, as in someone wanting to come up and talk to me, sell me something. It's as easy as that. You point to the hat, they go away. Now, I do put off. There are some rules that I follow that I've made for myself when it comes to avoiding just irritating situations, okay? I go into a store and I'm not trying to meet people, okay? I'm not trying to get a best friend. I'm not trying to get a date. I'm not trying to interact with anybody. I will always choose self-checkout if it's available because I have grown to see the world shift and change, to see the customer service aspect of people just kind of diminish completely. So the person that I'm walking up to may be the sweetest person in the world. However, they may be the biggest ass mouth I've ever seen also. And a lot of times I just mitigate the risk and just forget about it. I would rather go in and just look. I'm not looking at anybody. I'm just going. I'm there for a reason. I go get my shit and I'm going to check out and whatever. That's it. The little contact I have to have, the better. Because a lot of people have a lot of layers, and today a lot of people just put on a really shitty exterior. As do I. I don't go into a place and it's like, you know, with the biggest smile and my hair is just flowing free and I'm prancing around just saying hey to everybody. No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am in black leggings. I'm in whatever sweatshirt I want to be in. Sometimes I'll throw on an obnoxious hat and just go on with my day. I don't need to be catered to. I don't need to be talked to. That's not what I need from people. Some people need that. That's not me. Okay. However, there are people that you can talk to that think I am the biggest bitch. And on the flip side, there are people who say that They would kill for me, they would die for me, which is crazy, okay? But if I killed someone, you know, it's like one of those video game situations. You have like the characters that are really cool, they got some that are really wimpy, whatever. It's just, it really doesn't matter what you see in a person. There's so much more than what you see in that first instance, okay? My thing with people, I will be completely nice, okay? I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you live. I don't give a fuck what's in your bank account. I don't care what you drive. I don't care, okay? My thing is how people treat me as a person. That is the biggest thing. The biggest thing, okay? Because you can have the most money in the world and be the biggest fucking prick. I don't care if you choke on your fucking lunch, okay? If you treat me like shit, then I don't care. Like, you're done to me. You're just gone. However, you could be someone who is constantly struggling and be the sweetest person. And those people, sometimes you wonder, like, how? Like, this has happened, how do you do that? And it's all how they choose to go, right? It's all how they choose to be. I am someone who walks around like Shrek, which is not something that I'd say. Never thought that I would say. But it makes a lot of sense because Shrek walked around, especially that first movie, didn't care, right? Didn't care. He assumed that everybody hated him, his kind, whatever. So it's easier to just be that, right? Be the ogre everyone thinks that you are. That way they leave you the fuck alone because now they're scared of you. You don't have to deal with all of the emotional shit because just whatever. You know, you treat everybody like they treat you. So, okay. In the end, though, he's a big, soft, mushy, onion. That's gross. Nobody likes mushy onions, but you know what I mean? Like, there's more to him. And when he said that, ogres are like onions have layers, like that whole thing. If you watched it as a kid, maybe it didn't hit you. But if you've watched it or even thought of that phrase as an adult, it makes perfect sense, okay? And maybe some people should be a little more onion-like as opposed to being completely one-sided. Like, just, we'll get into it. All right. I have worked a lot of my life, okay, in different forms or fashions. I also have 4 kids, so I've been a mom for a very long time, and I have a brother and sister, so like my mom had kids and da-da-da-da-da. So I've been around people all my life, okay? I had to share my shit. I had to, all this, like, I had to work for what I have. I had to appreciate everything that I received because the world owed me nothing. Like, I grew up with a very good sense of morality, okay, of who I am in this world. I'm not a nobody, okay, but I'm not somebody that, I walk in the room and it's like, Kara's here, and that's it. Like, everyone drop to their knees and like stop what you're doing, and like, that's not it. Okay, you be a good person, you work really hard, and you do your best at what you do. You don't take people for granted. You appreciate things in life, and you be a good person. Those are your tiny little building blocks. Okay, now what you do with that, whether you decide to listen to that and you grow off of that and you teach your kids that, well, that's on you. Now, having been born in the 80s, living through the 90s, and being the generation that didn't have the internet and all of this shit, and then also being the generation learning to use it and then now using it, we've seen every facet of life, the before and the after. So it's like, it's a heartbreaking spot that we're in because you see kids today that are completely different from kids that we grew up with, right? Like, you see kids today that have, entitlement is not even the right word anymore. It is like, I don't even know. Like, back in the day, which is not a phrase, again, I thought I would say when I was younger, because I would always hear older people say that, and it's like, okay, grandpa. But I say it a fucking lot. Back in the day, you play a sport, for example. If your team wins, you get a trophy. If you're the MVP or whatever, you get a medal, a trophy, whatever. If you play the game and you never win and all that shit, you didn't get anything. There are winners, there are losers. That's a lesson that you have to learn. Not everyone is a winner just because you show up. You're great because you show up. You're fantastic because you're doing something and you're actually like there to, you know, participate in everything else. That's wonderful. Okay, that's fabulous. But there cannot be all winners and that's it. You know what I mean? That's not how it goes. Otherwise, there wouldn't be points. There wouldn't be scores. It just would be a bunch of people doing whatever for an unmarked amount of time just because they can. You know, it's just not, yeah. So up until X amount of years, that's how it was. Now, feelings play such a big part in today's society. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I don't know what I would be like if I was born 10 years later than I was. If I was born 15 years later than I was. I don't know how I'd look at here, but having been raised this time, this way, with these people, and now seeing all of today, this might as well be the upside down. It's crazy different, okay? So the Ogres Are Like Onions thing, it hit really well then. It hit really well 10 years ago. It still hits the right people today. But another thing about people today is it's not even a layer system. Now it's like, there are people that walk into a room and they're like, bitch, I'm here, so it's crazy. And then there are people who just are raging assholes all the time, or egomaniacs, or narcissistic motherfucker. Like, there are so many versions of people. There are so, I mean, the Shreks of the world, they have to be my age. You know what I mean? Like, they have to be my age or older or what, I don't know. Like, some of these people, they're just ridiculous. Like, the entire world should cater to them. What they believe, what they wear, who they date, like, how they parent, like, all of these things, with the help of the internet, just project how everything should be, right? And if it's not, if you're not doing all of these things just like me, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. It's exhausting, guys. It's exhausting. Be like Shrek, okay? Have the layers, right? If you want to be the mushy gushy person and go out and just like say hi to everybody all the time, that's great. Like, we have days like that where we go and we're just like, hey, you know, I love your dress, blah, blah, blah. Or you just give random compliments just because, you know, like, yeah, we have those days, but you also don't have to, I don't know. You don't have to be fully exposed for either the completely, let me word this right. It's another thing you got to be careful of these days. If you stutter or if you say the wrong thing, you will be cancelled, okay? Because feelings and sensitivity play a big part in what other people say. So there are a lot of things, I'm sure, like even wearing this fucking cult leader shirt. I am going to ruffle some feathers, okay? And I'm not sorry about it, because who the fuck cares? You don't know me. For all I know, nobody watches or listens to this, and it's totally fine. This is just me talking in the basement, honestly. So I'm totally fine with it. Oh my gosh. Look, it's important to have the layers, okay? It's important that you don't underestimate somebody at first glance. Don't assume that you know somebody at first glance, okay? You could have somebody that's completely ridiculous looking, and they could be the nicest person in the world. You could have someone who is really rich and you have no fucking clue, because they're just down to earth, completely sane, charming, all of that stuff. I'm going to tell you a really quick story. Okay, this is someone who did not have the onion principle going on. He was straight, not understanding how I operated as a person, okay? Again, I don't care what people look like. I don't care what you do, where you live. I don't give a fuck, because it doesn't affect me, right? Even if you're my best friend and you're a fucking quadrillionaire, I don't care, because that has nothing to do with me. As long as you treat me like a friend, a nice person, you know, you're not a cunt face, then we're good. As soon as you start acting like that money makes you here and me down here, that's gonna be a problem for me. So I was going through years ago looking for a job I could do at home. That in itself is a crazy situation, full of scams, a lot of shit. This was before COVID. This was before working at home was like the thing everyone wanted to do. So I went through plenty of non-legit jobs, postings and things, where I actually found someone. I found someone that was looking for a virtual assistant, someone to help manage their calendar, maybe go shopping, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I lived in South Carolina, and they lived in Manhattan. Okay? So I interviewed with this guy, and I remember him sending me a note saying he wants to schedule a meeting, schedule an interview. Okay, over the phone. He's like, okay, so there are a couple people that are auditioning, for this position. So I just wanted to ask you a couple questions, because I like your resume and everything, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. Okay, yeah, go ahead, shoot. He says, well, how do you feel about people with money? I paused. I was like, I don't. He's like, well, what I mean is, if someone had a lot of money, how does that make you feel? In my mind, I'm thinking, motherfucker, I know what you said. I know what it means, but like, it doesn't affect me, so it doesn't bother me. Therefore, I don't feel anything. You know what I mean? He's like, well, let me say it like this. Oh my God, I could already tell this was going to be an adventure. Okay, I could already tell. But go ahead, humor me, Go ahead, spell it out. He's like, let's say you walk outside and your neighbor has a brand new Mercedes sitting there. How would you feel about that? And I said, honestly, I don't care at all. Like, it wouldn't bother me. If they wanted to tell me about the car, I'd say, congratulations, very nice, and then move on with my day, because again, it has nothing to do with me. I'm not driving it. I'm not envying it. I don't give a shit. It's a car. I don't even like to drive. You know what I mean? If I could teleport myself, I would just fucking do that. I don't care. Do not care. It's just not something that was ever this enviable situation. You know what I mean? What I told him was, it doesn't bother me what people have in their wallets, what they have in their bank account. I don't care if they drive a Bentley, a Mercedes. I don't care if they climbed on a unicorn with Santa Claus and took off for work every day. It doesn't bother me, because it doesn't affect me, because it has nothing to do with me. So I think he was satisfied with that answer. So we moved on to the next one. He goes, okay, Another question. How do you feel about gay people? What? I was like, again, I don't. I mean, it has nothing to do with me. So, I have plenty of gay friends. I mean, I'm not sure what you want me to say. I don't hate people because of that, if that's what you're going for. And he's like, oh, okay. Okay, so you're gay. Okay, very good. Next. What I told him after that was, look, it doesn't bother me what people have money-wise. It doesn't bother me what they wear, what they drive, who they date, where they live, what they do. Nothing, none of that bothers me at all. The way a person comes across to me is how they treat me as a person. That's what matters to me. You can have your status, your everything, okay? You can live up in your fucking castle, wherever. I don't care. Because it has nothing to do with me. That's totally fine. I will do this job, blah, blah, blah. But the minute you start thinking I'm less than, that's when we're going to have a problem. And, you know, he said he understood and all of that, but it was very apparent that he was not like Shrek. He didn't have the layers. He had a mask that he wore, and then he was a straight dick face. And if I could go back and talk to myself all those years ago for this great opportunity that let me stay home with my kids, because that's how I justified staying there for 5 years doing this to myself, just because I was comfortable, I had a handle in everything, and I was able to stay home. So how bad could it possibly be? It was, okay? I was used and abused and definitely taken advantage of, and doing the job of at least 3 fucking people and being paid for half of one. So, not a good experience to work with someone like that, but it's an experience that I can pass on to my kids and let them know that, hey, as long as you have these understanding of people, okay, don't let anything you see about them, hear about them, don't let that be how you judge somebody. Okay, it doesn't matter what they look like, what they sound like. They could be the rudest motherfucker in the room, but if you actually knew them, they could be completely different. Me, I am sarcastic, I'm all over the place, I'm full of quips, I'm everything else. Like, even if it's someone I don't know, I'll say something if I need to say something, or you know, it's just that opportunity. But doesn't mean that I would be BFFs. And on the flip side, there are plenty of people who will tell you that I am the kind, sweet, generous, you know, thoughtful, caring, blah, 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 pit bull personality they've ever seen, and they love that I'm in their life. So it's a very... people just choose the people who are privileged enough to get to peel back those layers. My layers come off as like rude bitch, snarky, sarcastic, wenchy person sometimes, or mom with her hands full, back, you know, don't even bother talking to her kind of person. So, and yet I've been married for 21 years. I've had friendships that last decades, and it's, yeah, you just have to appreciate the layers. And definitely, if you're not someone who has ever seen that movie or even knows what the fuck I'm talking about, definitely go give it a shot, because you get to see in fun animated form, fairy tales and all, you know, how someone goes from being hard hated monster to hero, lovable, fun, da da da. So never take your layers for granted, okay? And doesn't matter how many you have, doesn't matter who you get to see. Like, I feel like through the years as we grow, whether it's through trauma, lessons, friendships, failed relationships, all kinds of things that happen, loss, you know, all kinds of things create different layers in us. And I'm sure that you have some friends who know 5 fun facts about you. And then you've got other friends that know a hell of a lot more, right? You've got friends where you can talk about shit that happened at the game or at your kid's school a couple weeks ago. But then you've got friends who, I mean, there are no boundaries. You don't have to sit and wonder if it's okay to talk about something. Like, you just spit it out because that person has gotten close enough to where they've been able to peel back. You've been able to relax and let the layers just basically unfold them fucking selves. So, if you don't have people like that, that's okay. You know, that's okay. Sometimes they come crazy times and you just don't know, but definitely don't feel bad for being Shrek-like, especially today. Today is another part where if you expose too much vulnerability, it'll be exploited and definitely stepped on, taken advantage of, and things like that. And that is not something that I want anybody to ever have to deal with. I mean, it happens every day, but definitely don't be someone who accepts that your kindness is mistaken for any kind of weakness, or you being vulnerable or any kind of way is, you know, reasons that someone can just walk all over you like a doormat. That's not it. So be Shrek-like, and remember that if you see somebody you haven't had a conversation with, you don't even know their name, you don't know their backstory in any way, shape, or form, just remember that there's probably a lot more going on than what you can see. Okay, so you see a bitchy person and you think, wow, what a, you have no idea. Okay, she could be the sweetest person in the world. And on the flip side, someone who seems like the nicest person could actually be like the most conniving son of a bitch you've ever seen. So, people are like layers. Ogres, people are like layers. No. People are like onions, just like ogres are like onions who have multiple layers. Very complex. Very complex. And no, we're not all cakes, because not everyone likes cakes. I mean, onions. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway, so I think we're good here. I think we're good here. So, if you, again, this was our 4th episode. Yay to us. Let's go ahead and do a clap. We gotta have a clap in here, don't we? Don't we? Don't we? Let's say cheer. Yay! Very good. Very good. So, congratulations to us to making it 4 episodes in, and I'm so ready to come back again for episode 5. Again, ogres are like onions, just like people are, and have layers. So, I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you next time.